Have you noticed how everyone around is planning holidays or going on holiday, booking flights, talking about what they're doing this summer? Long haul trips, city breaks, cruises. You know how it goes. And I know it's the holiday season, and I know families, this is when everyone takes their kids off somewhere nice for a few weeks, which is fine. That works for them. But then everyone has an opinion on how I need a holiday. Yeah, and a holiday would be nice. I can't say that it wouldn't be nice. But I've been sitting here thinking about what I've done with my money instead of having that holiday. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Lesley and welcome to my channel. I'm only just retired. I came online after my husband passed away and I've been sharing my journey honestly ever since. The difficult parts and the hopeful parts. Now, let me tell you why I chose wardrobes instead of a holiday. I moved into a brand new house. New houses don't come with built in wardrobes. And my old house, we had bespoke wardrobes fitted and we had so much storage space. It, I mean, the amount of storage space we had, people only dream about, which meant, of course, that despite downsizing, when I moved in here, I had rails loaded down with clothes I wanted to put away, and I couldn't because I was advised not to build wardrobes, fitted wardrobes, too soon, just to let the walls dry out, the paint dry out a little bit. So I didn't. And I could have booked a trip while I was sitting there waiting. And a couple of times I was very tempted. And it would have been something to look forward to. Certainly something to plan and talk about, you know. But it wasn't what I actually needed. And I mean this genuinely. What I actually needed was to feel at home. Because I've had a lot of upheaval in the last few years. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. And what my nervous system needed more than anything was to feel settled, to walk into a bedroom that doesn't have bags piled in the corner and clothes hanging in plain sight is peace of mind. And then a patio. I loved my garden. We had third of an acre of beauty, trees, flowering bushes, and I couldn't claim to be the landscaper. That was the previous owner, and she did a fantastic job. From spring onwards, right the way through the summer, every month, something was coming into flower, and I loved it. I love strolling around the flower beds to see the butterflies, the bees, the ladybugs, the crickets, and the smell of freshly cut grass was something else. Even the smell of the rainwater on the lawn, the small things. You know, people used to say, when will you get time to smell the flowers? Well, I got plenty of time to smell the flowers in my garden. So when I came here, planting a garden was at the top of my list of to do things. And I think as a particular type of person I can relate to who has a beautiful garden. You know, and I miss not sitting on my patio in the early mornings and enjoy the sunshine, having a quiet cup of tea before the day kicked off. And I could have sat in the garden, but it wasn't just a garden I wanted. It wasn't just a space out there. I wanted a planted garden. I mean, what's the point of having a garden if you can't plant anything in it? I did have turf courtesy of the developer, but I actually wanted flowers, trees, shrubs. And I brought all my beautiful pots filled with hydrangeas with me, but I actually wanted to plant in flower beds. I love agapanthus, and I have two in the garden now. And if you don't know what an agapanthus is, I cannot encourage you to go and not go and look. Google it, see what one looks like. They're absolutely beautiful. I have a lavender bush now, and I love lavender because lavender attracts the bumblebees. And I have another little bush that I'd seen many times, but didn't know what the name of it was. And it's called hot lips. Excuse me. Also, my mum allowed me on my last trip home to see her to bring back my one of my dad's apple trees that he had in pots. And it's really not the right time to be planting trees, but it was in a big pot. The roots were very compacted, and I made a big effort not to disturb the roots. And I now have my dad's apple tree in the garden. Don't know if it's a cooker or if it's an eating apple, but I'm just delighted and over the moon to have it. Now, by the autumn, I will have decided what trees that I'm going to have. And I know I will plant two for sure, a magnolia and a cherry tree. But every time I go out, I see trees I like and I add it to my list. And my garden's not that big, so I'm going to be very discerning about what I actually choose. To get to this point in time, it took a weekend of breaking work. The ground had to be cleared, turned over, and broken up, and the topsoil added. The gardener who laid my patio happily helped me by taking the turf away, but that all had to be broken up underneath. And if you've ever had any experience with a development of new builds, the ground is compacted down so hard because it's so expensive for them to get rid of all that waste that they just compact it down and then put turf over the top. I mean, it's amazing that the grass even grew. So I had 38 barrow loads of topsoil, which really equated to almost a ton. And I would fill the barrow, wheel it to the bed, and tipped it out 38 times. I started at 5:30 in the morning and I'd finished by 9:30. And it was hard physical work, I'm not kidding. But now I am so pleased and content with the result. That's it. That's what I've invested in. I could have had probably 3 holidays for what it's cost me. And it's not glamorous. Would it be Instagram worthy? I think next year when everything comes into bloom and everything's looking fantastic, yes, it might be Instagram worthy, but right now it's for me, it's for my pleasure. And I know my garden is going to be beautiful every single morning. My patio is going to give me that cup of tea outside every day this summer if that's what I want to do. And my wardrobes, well, I can't even begin to describe how happy I am with my wardrobes. I have to keep looking at them. I have my main bedroom and I've made a dressing room with wardrobes. And I get so much satisfaction because my wardrobes are going to make my mornings calmer for years to come. And they already are starting. And the thing is, a holiday ends. This doesn't. The stupid thing is, just for a second, I felt a bit embarrassed about that. Like maybe I should be doing something else, like everyone else was doing. And I dreaded being asked the question. And it was almost like my retirement wasn't quite measuring up to their expectations. And I had to justify why I'm not booking a holiday. And ironically, these people are not even retired, they just have an opinion. But then I gave myself a shake and said, no, this is nonsense. Uh, I've got to stop that. Because that thought, that little voice that says yours doesn't look like theirs, that's the comparison trap. And it follows you into retirement, whether you're ready for it or you're not. Because we spend most of our working lives comparing ourselves to the people around us. It's exhausting and we all know it, and most of us do it anyway. Salaries, promotion, whose kids are doing what, where people are going on holiday. And then retirement arrives and you think, right, that's all done now. I'm past all that. But it doesn't go away, it just changes. Now the questions are, where are you going this year? What have you got planned? Have you been anywhere nice? And social media. Well, that's a whole other story, isn't it? Because what you see of other people's retirements online is the best of it. The sunsets, the restaurants, the photos from the hotel pool. Nobody's posting pictures of a Tuesday at home doing the washing or cleaning the toilets. So when we hold our ordinary days up against that highlight reel, we always come off worse. It's not a fair comparison. It never was, and it's certainly not now. And one of the things that made me really quite sad, I've spoken to a few ladies who are quietly ashamed of their retirement, not because their lives aren't good, they are, but because the life doesn't look like the one they expected or the one that they see around them. But I used to look in and think, wow, that's a pretty nice retirement they've got there. It's worth remembering. The retirement that looks impressive and the retirement that actually makes you happy are not always the same thing. And we actually want the one that makes us happy. And nobody tells you that. The most content women I know in retirement are the ones without the biggest itineraries. They're the ones who got really honest about what they need, went after it, and are enjoying it. And I want that to be me too. So, what does your retirement actually look like? Well, for me, right now, it's a home that feels like a sanctuary, a garden I'm watching grow, which I'm loving, a community I'm building slowly on my terms, and work that's mine. That gives my day shape and brings in income I've earned myself. And that can be 2 hours a day, or it can be 4 hours a day, or like today, I've almost done a full day's work because last week my week was so broken up and interrupted. I actually had to say, Monday, I'm going to sit down and focus on what I need to get done. And it's all mine. It might not photograph well, but it's genuinely and completely mine. And if holidays are what lights you up, that's brilliant. Go enjoy every single minute. That's your version, and it's just as valid as anything else. The only version that doesn't work is the one that you end up living because you were too busy comparing yourself to someone else to figure out what you actually wanted. The moment when I caught myself feeling embarrassed about the wardrobes and not booking a holiday, I'm actually glad looking back that it happened now because it made me ask the question, whose retirement am I trying to live? And the answer is mine, definitely mine. You have to own what you're building. Let everyone else focus on their dream. You focus on yours. Ironically, 12 years of Dubai living was a never ending holiday for me. Blue skies, sunshine, and sand. Every day was a holiday. And I was just telling someone, I used to pull back the curtains and say to my husband as I pulled them back, wow, another day in paradise. Maybe not for you, but that's how I felt. More days of sunshine than many people experience in a lifetime. And I genuinely appreciated every sunny day. And that all stems from them long, grey, wet English winters. And we've had a few pretty grim summers as well. So next year, I may be going on holiday. I'm already thinking about it and making plans with my daughter. But I'll see how I feel. Things can change. Drop in the comments what you have chosen in your retirement that might not look impressive from the outside, but is exactly right for you. I genuinely love to know. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below, and if you want to follow along, don't forget to subscribe and share this with someone who may need to hear this. And I'll see you on the next one.